The next time you have a really good, perfectly yellow, crunchy banana, instead of taking the sticker and sticking it everywhere except where it's supposed to go and having your mom scold you for being a mess, I want you to take a second and listen to what I'm about to say. We're gonna go fast, so pay attention and hang on tight.
What you probably don't notice when eating a delicious banana are the names on these edible stickers that you viciously stick everywhere. I can guarantee that if you go downstairs right now and check your bananas, you'll probably find names such as Del Monte or Chiquita on them. Why am I talking about bananas and why am I even bringing this up? Well, what you probably didn't know is that these infamous companies are part of 200 corporations that have been charged in what Policy 2017 calls crimes against humanity, aka willfully paying off death squads and paramilitary groups that are responsible for years and years of horror in Colombia. Let me explain. Colombia is the world's 4th largest banana exporter, and this is mainly due to its very favorable temperatures and soil, especially in the region of Urabá, Antioquia. The workers at these farms work tirelessly to produce around 2 million tons of banana each year, which accounts for around $800 million in export, but only 8% of this produce is sold locally. One of the many paramilitary groups that exist in Colombia, the AUC, or Las Autodefensas Unidas de Colombia, saw this as an opportunity to make some money. This caused a range of violent attacks on these workers from 1996 to 2004, and this really was a time when the AUC was allowed free reign over the region, before the Colombian government was able to disband these groups through peace treaties and extradition of AUC leaders to U.S. prisons. However, this isn't where this video ends. Here's the twist. Due to the actions of the Colombian government against these dangerous groups, there is now a new enemy attempting to take profit over these fruitful regions. Multinational corporations. 2 of these American corporation names you've heard me mention before. You guessed it, Del Monte and Chiquita. These companies allegedly finance the AUC, thereby allowing the purchasing of arms and in turn permitting them to carry out their heinous crimes and taking control of the region of Urabá. It's also important to know that the AUC was designated a terrorist organization by the U.S. Department of State in 2001. But how is this important? How does it relate to global health? And how does it relate to course concepts? This is only one small example of the damage that economic neocolonialism can have, and it happens all over the world. It's defined as the indirect control of the economic, political, and social cultural life of these countries by their former colonial masters. Now, how does this all relate to a banana? Let me give you some context. Colombia started to adopt neoliberal economics in the 1990s, and the government started to open up more of the country's land to these multinational businesses. Around the same time, the government passed a new constitution that recognizes indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities as distinct ethnic groups with the right to land titles. However, this new change was contradictory, as these communities' ancestral territory is almost always located on the same resource-rich land that these multinational corporations, particularly American corporations, wish to possess. This problem is still unfortunately present today. Communities are under pressure from these violent paramilitary groups and large foreign corporations who want to use the land to carry out extractivist projects, build factories, or organize drug operations, while these community members struggle to maintain control of their land. U.S. military training and funding in the 1990s reinforced these paramilitary groups, the guerrilla, and state violence, which allowed neoliberal ideology to enter Colombia completely unopposed. The system is still unfortunately in place, which leads to widespread killings and displacement of the people every year. But why do these companies do this? Why would companies like Del Monte and Chiquita pay these groups? It's quite simple, actually. Companies can more easily obtain territory by provoking conflict and putting local populations in physical and economic danger. Repressions and murders are all part of a fear-mongering technique used to intimidate and silence social leaders, tear apart community stability, and ultimately suppress any kind of social movement that could challenge the dominant economic model. This is the type of neocolonialism that propagates social unrest in order to generate profit, and it still exists today. What can be done at our level? Essentially, have more people take a course like this one. Let me tell you why. Beres Escamilla 2020, a Yale professor, claims that powerful global health governance alliance developed solid collaborations with esteemed American and European schools of public health and provided funding for them. This is important as these institutions thus served as the training grounds for key public health experts, including individuals from low-income countries, using a strong neocolonial lens to train them. Despite the fact that we've made a lot of changes since then, he contends that the way schools continue to educate students is not evolving quickly enough to support the development of future leaders capable of changing the guiding ideals and structural design of the existing global health system. He claims that curricular reform is needed to train health students through practice-based learning approaches on the social determinants of health and equity, bioethics, community-based participatory research in the context of cultural humility, anti-racism frameworks and how to operationalize them, and using evidence-based advocacy to restructure the highly inequitable economic systems and health systems that currently govern our society. I am aware that this is merely only one step and a very small step in addressing the crisis that Colombia and many other countries around the world face. If you see this video, I urge you to join a course like 3310 if you haven't already done so. Inform yourself and do what you can. I hope that you've learned something new today. Take care and have a good one.